Alright folks, and this is part 2 of our episode 3 of Project Looking Glass. In the previous part, we wound up creating a light attack animation using montages for the character and introducing the double-bladed axe that we created. In this part of the video, we're going to be adding in the heavy attack animation, and we'll be going over that now. Now what we're going to want to do is add a heavy attack, because right now we have a light attack which doesn't use stamina. We're going to add a heavy attack which will consume a large amount of stamina and take longer to use. So we're going to use our new input, our heavy attack input, and we're going to create a new attack. So we're going to do heavy attack. And the way that this one is set up compared to our basic attack, we're going to be using started. So on started, we are going to do another play montage. So I'm just going to duplicate this real quick, drag this down, and we're going to plug that in. The montage that we're going to use is actually going to be our charged attack montage. This is one that I created a little bit ago, and essentially what it does is, if I can figure out where I'm going, there we go. Essentially what it does is this. Winds the player up to this reverse hold position, so you're holding the weapon behind your back, and what it's going to do, I've actually set, what was it? Blend out. That's right. No, this isn't correct. Oh, that's because this is attack sequence. Let me go into the montage instead, and I'll be able to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So there is a choice in the montage system. It's called Auto Blend Out. Enable Auto Blend Out. So by turning this off, we make it so that when the player gets to that point where they're holding it at the end of the animation, it will not reset the animation or go back into idle. It will hold right here until otherwise prompted. And that's important for what we're going to be doing, because we're going to be using this as a pressed and hold function. So now that we have this, I can probably show you exactly what this does. Compile, save. And if you remember, I've got this set to our right click. So if we right click, you can see it pauses the character right there. Releasing it isn't going to do anything, unfortunately, because right now we don't have a secondary animation. So we're going to fix that. Back in our third person, we're going to take this and we'll duplicate it, drag it down, and we're going to do the finished attack. This is going to be our heavy weapon swing, and I've actually got an anim notify set up on it, so I can show you that real quick. On this animation, I have this notify right here, which in order to add a notify, you come down to notifies, the track right below it, right click where you want the notify to be, and click new notify. And what this is, it is a tag that tells the computer, hey, at this instance, we need to do something. So right now I've got it set up at 2 seconds, which if you scroll over to this, is right about where we were when the charge up animation stopped. So this is where it's going to pick up. We're going to be using finish attack as our key for that. We're going to exit out of that. Under starting section, this is going to be where you put in your notify name. Now this is case sensitive, so you're going to want to be exact. You can be exact by copy pasting the name, but this is a simple naming convention. Watch me mess that up. And we're going to want to start the position at 2.01 seconds. And we're going to connect this to completed. Compile, save, play, and now when we hit right click, hold down the button, it's going to go into that animation, release, follow through. It is a little bit slow compared to the main attack animation though. So this is what it's going to look like with the axe. Boom! We actually have it set up. We don't have it set up for attacks yet. So we're going to speed this up a little bit. I'm going to do 1.5, 50% faster than what we were currently doing. Let's see if that works. That is significantly faster. That looks much better. Now we can go ahead and add a couple more things. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is add a cancellation system. Because what happens if you want to end this animation before you are done holding down the button? It's not going to do anything. So we're going to come off of canceled and we're going to do a stop anim montage. We're actually going to do 2 of these. The target is going to be self, it's going to be the player character, and for the animation montages, we're just going to do charge attack and heavy weapon swing. So we're going to do, where'd you go? Charge attack and heavy weapon swing. There we go. Now we need to add a couple of checks as well, because right now we can just use this however we want. What we want to do is add a stamina cost to it. So the first thing that we're going to do is add whether or not we have the weapon equipped. So we're going to do has weapon, branch, come off of started, and if it is true, then it will play this. If it's not true, it won't do anything, so we don't really need to go into any details with that. There's one more thing that I didn't do. On completed, we're going to do stop animation. No, wait. Wrong. Don't need to do any stop animation. Here's what we're going to do instead. We're going to want to check whether or not the player has the stamina to do this. So we're going to take our current stamina, and we're going to do a greater than or equal to, and we're going to want to do a branch off of that. So we're going to do off of completed. That's going to be when you release the button. On completed, if the stamina is greater than or equal to however much we want to set it, it will play the montage. If it is not, then it's going to stop the animation process. That's what I was going for. So currently, we don't have any set stats for the attack, but what we can do, we can set an arbitrary number. We have 100 stamina base to start with, so we want to limit the amount of times you can do a heavy attack. Let's do twice. Let's say that you can do it twice. If you have more than or equal to 50 stamina, you can use your attack. And what we can do, let's make this a little bit neater. Drag this down a little bit. There we go. Okay. So let me see if I remember. What we're going to want to do is subtract our stamina. So we're going to take our current stamina and we will subtract an amount of stamina from it to prevent us from spamming the attack constantly. So we want to make sure that we have more than or equal to 50. So let's subtract 50 from our current stamina. So at max, we are only going to be able to do it twice in a row. And we're going to want to set current stamina. There we go. And we want this to kick off when we attack. So we're actually going to put it right here before the animation plays. So when the animation plays, it's going to allow us to subtract the stamina, which makes sense because we're checking. So we're going to move this back a little bit. There we go. Set stamina right here. Get you guys. Current stamina. There we go. Compile, save. And I believe we have a weapon. Yes. Compile, save. Play. So now, right-clicking isn't doing anything. Equip a weapon. And we go through and do the attacks. But if I just press the button, it's going to start the animation, but it's not going to do anything. It actually has to wind up in order to do the attack. So once it gets to this point, slam down. But now, we don't have enough stamina. So it's just going to cancel the animation. Going to go right back to standing. Which is exactly what we're looking for. So there's another thing that we're going to want to do. We're going to want to add a stamina regen system to this because you're going to want to be able to use your stamina. So what we can do, we can come up to our regen stamina setup. Right here, actually, on the main sprint function. We're going to take our stamina regen loop. That's going to be this little bunch right here. Retriggerable delay, stamina regen, branch. If you can increase your stamina, we're going to come down and we'll place this here. We're going to come off of this execution node and plug it directly into the retriggerable delay. So this creates a little mini loop here. Now we need to place it somewhere. And what I think we can do, if we cancel the animation, we're going to want to trigger the regen. So we're going to connect that here. But we also want to trigger it if we finish our attack animation. So we're going to do onCompleted here. We're going to drag this out, put you right here. There we go. Compile, save, check. With a weapon in hand, charge up and attack. And there it goes. Regenning stamina at a pretty decent rate, too. All right. There was one caveat I saw. You're recharging stamina even if you are attacking. So what we're going to do, we're going to add a check. If the player is attacking, we don't want them to be able to recharge. So we're going to do a branch. And the only reason I say that is if you run out of stamina, you shouldn't be allowed to just stand there holding the attack before you can hit them. You should actually need the stamina before you can do anything. And we're going to take our execution nodes. Ooh. We could do this. Hold down Control and move them all. We're going to break this link and replug it back into our retriggerable delay. And if the player is not attacking, then we will set that up. And I just noticed that we are still needing to add a couple of things. So we are going to do set is attacking to nothing. So coming off of this, we're going to do the retriggerable delay. There we go. And we're also going to want to do that on completed here. I think I made a mistake. Let's do this. There we go. And there we go. Okay, so compile, save, play. With a weapon in hand, we can attack, do damage. Now we can wind up. Oh, it didn't do it. And I think I know why it didn't do it. Okay. Yeah, I see why it didn't do it. We need to add an option to set the attack to true. There we go. Okay. So now when the player attacks during the animation, it's going to trigger the attack protocol. So if I did this right, it's not doing anything there. It's not doing anything there. We're going to wind up, smack them. There we go. And our stamina is still recharging. I think I need to set this up in a different place. So we're actually going to set this up here. And we're back. I had to rebuild the entire system because I had missed a crucial part. So what I had it set to is triggered and started, both plugged into branch. This is how it was supposed to be set up. And then off of the montage, it's going to do set charging attack. This is where I messed up. So as long as the player is charging an attack, they are not supposed to be able to regenerate their stamina. What I was doing was setting it to attacking, and it was turning off the attacking at the end of each animation and going into the retriggerable delay anyway, because even if you were charging an attack, it technically thought that you weren't attacking at that moment. So now that I have that all fixed, we can actually go in and see what this does. Pressing X to equip a weapon. Swing, slam, and now we've got that retriggerable delay going. But if we go into the charge, it turns that off. And if we try to do it while we don't have enough stamina, it just cancels the animation. And you will only regenerate stamina for as long as you are not actively in the attack. You can still use your light attack, though. I seem to have turned that off somehow. Let me go back into that real quick. I think I know why, actually. I don't think it saved the montage. It did not. There it is. The montage is broken. That's what's wrong with it. So we're going to delete that, and it seems to have fixed itself. Okay. Never mind. I guess I broke it and then fixed it accidentally. We're just going to go with it. So now if we go back in, we should have 2 attacks. Equip. We got a light attack. And we have a heavy attack with a charge up, a stamina drain with the regen kicking off. We have collision that causes an explosion when you hit on both the attacks. And now, if you try to attack with a heavy attack, it will stop your stamina regen. And if you do not have enough stamina, it will cancel the animation. Alright, so that concludes this video. In this video, we went over how to add and use animations, as well as add new inputs to create new types of attacks. We created a charge attack that winds up with one animation, and then finishes the attack with a second animation using a new input which we added to our mapping context. On top of that, we made it so that when the player uses the attack, it will check to see if they have enough stamina before using it, and then subtract a set amount of stamina after the animation is concluded. This way, the player can't just spam the attack left and right and has to plan out their attacks. We also created a static mesh for a weapon and added a blueprint of that static mesh with collision field on it that spawns a sphere trace when it collides with an enemy unit. For now, all we have when we hit the enemy target is creating an explosion effect. However, in future videos we're going to be adding a damage system and we'll also be adding death animations. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to stay up to date on our upcoming new videos for the series, as well as check out our other videos where we've gone over how to create a heads-up display and a stamina system, among other topics. Stay tuned for our next video where we're going to be going over how to add an interaction system to the game where the player will be able to open doors and collect items. It's going to be a core component of our gameplay, so I hope to see you there. Until then, go out, make an impact.